Standing legal battle between New York Attorney General Letitia James and the National Rifle Association came to a close on Wednesday. According to the AG's office, the court is requiring the NRA to enact several reforms to its leadership. Two former executives must also pay millions of dollars in damages. AG James says, quote, "For decades, the NRA let self-interested and self-dealing insiders run the organization with complete disregard for the rule of law. This decision requiring the NRA to significantly reform its governance should send a clear message that we will hold not-for-profits and their leaders accountable when they violate our laws," end quote. The NRA is also declaring victory in the case, saying that the judge denied any invasive measures requested by the government. The organization said the court order works in the NRA's interest and that many of the changes were proposed by the NRA itself. The NRA's president said, quote, "The NYAG sought to shut us down and then appoint outsiders to oversee management of this historic organization. Fortunately for freedom lovers everywhere, this politically motivated attempt failed."